Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 2 in the series between Giantt and Hyun. Giantt currently down 1-0 in this series, and we'll see what happens here in Game 2 after Hyun opened up with a 10 pool followed by a very quick Baneling's Nest to really shock and awe Giantt out of Game 1. And Giantt perhaps thinking that the game was going to be going long, perhaps a bit more macro, not realizing what exactly Hyun had in store. And Hyun now opens up with the good luck, have fun. And I don't know if they actually opened up with good luck, have fun last time. I don't believe they did, which may be a sign that, hey, I'm going to be playing a little bit more straight up. I don't need to cheese you twice in a row, Giantt. I already have a 1-0 lead. Let's play a standard game, and let's see if you can beat me at a meta game, perhaps. So far, both of these players are opening up with very similar builds. Exact same builds if you take a very closer look at the situation. And will the players be going for a fast hatchery, or will they go spawning pool hatch? Spawning pool hatch obviously much safer than hatch first, as spawning pool hatch may have given Giantt a better fighting chance, perhaps getting up that queen a little bit earlier to fend off the swarm and detonate some of those banelings before they got within range. Now, Hyun sitting on the top right hand side, Giantt sitting on the bottom left, and still both of them not establishing any buildings. It looks as though it is going to be a hatchery first by both Giantt and Hyun. Hyun having a little bit more resources, starting his hatchery a little bit earlier. And now we also see Hyun getting in a little bit more drones, as he's going to be training up a little bit more quickly as well. It looks as though, yes, it will be a spawning pool coming in from Giantt. So Giantt wants to make sure that this spawning pool is already down, and Hyun actually taking advantage of the fact, I believe he had a higher harvester count. Yes, he does, 15 compared to 14. He does have a slight mineral advantage, and he is also starting to get his gas. Very, very important there, as we know that Giantt will be forced to build up an extractor, sacrificing a drone, and Hyun essentially has about a 1 supply advantage, as you'll see now. So Giantt falls behind again. Alright. 15 drones here in the main base. Perhaps we'll see up to, not 15, 13 drones in the main base. We should be seeing up to 16 plus those 6 on gas. Hyun should be doing the same off over here. And both sides are still just setting up for the mid game. They're setting up for that next step and figuring out what they want to do. Alright, apparently Giantt, a much more calm player, playing with a rather low APM. Perhaps a little bit of franticness would help him, as Hyun is already reaching over 200 some odd average APM. What's the efficient APM? 84 versus 132. Alright, average efficient APM is about the same, so we'll take a look at what's happening there in just a moment, as Hyun is going into double queens, I believe. Yes, double queens, one at the main base, one at the hatchery, and Hyun should be fairly confident that he knows what Giantt is doing. Now, in a Zerg versus Zerg mirror match, it's always important to know what your opponent is going for. If you know what your opponent is trying to do, you can build the proper counter units and then just send them along their merry way. As StarCraft seems to have almost what I call silver bullets, one particular unit that is generally utilized in order to just absolutely destroy another unit on the field. It would be similar to, say, Vikings against Colossi and Broodlords. And one of the strongest benefits of Zerg is that Zerg can build a large number of those proper counter units in just a matter of seconds with the help of the hatchery and the inject larva system. Hyun currently behind 40 supply compared to 43 harvester count. 32 compared to 27. Hyun is behind, and that lead is starting to actually grow a bit. So the stronger economy by Giantt really helping him out to get a little bit more resources, and then thereby getting a lot more drones. You can still see off over here the number of workers we have. 16 drones in the main, and oh, a Baneling hit. Is it going to be enough? I believe only one Baneling was actually taken down there, as the Zerglings trying to fight back. This is not going to work out well, as the Banelings may have counterattacked. Giantt looking to perhaps fend off the attack here, and 1 queen, 2 queens, more than enough to handle the situation. Now, Banelings are ready to go. We'll see what is in store next. As both sides just simply sitting inside their base. 41 harvester supply by Hyun. Meanwhile, 52 to 49. Still pretty even, and we already see a faster tech to tier 2 by Giantt. Now, generally in a Zerg versus Zerg matchup, if players do go Mutalist versus Mutalist, whoever gets Mutalist first and starts training Mutalist first generally wins. In a 10-on-10 Mutalist fight, you know, you'll come out with pretty even numbers, assuming even upgrades. But in a 8-on-2 fight or 10-on-4 fight, it'll be 7-0, and then that Mutalist ball just really starts to snowball until you are able to get off Infestors and land those fungal growths, and then perhaps shoot them down with some infested Terran. Banelings hitting off some easy shots on some units. Baneling trying to take down a couple of Zerglings, does take down 2. Not a good trade. Not a good trade at all, but still trading nonetheless as Giantt sitting on a 50 drone to 45 drone advantage. Spire now coming in from Hyun. Meanwhile, Infestation Pit coming in from Giantt. The problem with Giantt is that he's not going to have fungal growth in time, as he's perhaps going to wait for the upgrade, the Pathogen Glands upgrade, before even trying to get that Infestor. Banelings now making a roll in. Is it going to be enough? Zerglings, Banelings starting to fight it out. Oh, one nice shot there. Banelings trying to make their way in, and once again, not able to kill very much. Hyun now down in 20 supply, and really giving Giantt a much stronger foothold than I would have originally imagined. 49 drones versus 45 drones. Banelings, Zerglings once again doing another exchange. Workers kill count, 30 workers lost. 1,200, 800, and 775 resource difference in terms of these armies. And now we also see that Giantt is mining a bit more once again. Giantt on the move out with this Overlord. Mutalists have been spotted by Hyun, and that is perhaps what exactly Giantt wanted to see. You can see the Infestation Pit coming in. Are we going into Pathogen Glands? Yes, we are. Infestors should start to be trained up already, as the Mutalists are now simply going to make their way over. The Queen trying to get away. Oh, getting off some easy shots. Where is this Queen going to go? That is a whole bunch of Overlords, as Queens are now in position to get off some easy shots there, and the Roaches are now backing off again. A new hatchery off here. That's a whole bunch of Roaches, but nothing that's going to fight back against those Mutalists. Roaches cannot spit into the air, if you remember. As we now see mass transfusions trying to save some of those Queens. Alright, Spore Crawler and Queen engaging. Mutalists now fighting back against all of these units here. It looks as though one Spore Crawler will get taken down. It is not going to get transfused in time. No, it is not, as the Roaches now still holding the position to deal with the Zerglings, which may be coming in. Level 1 missile attack now being started. This is still going to be quite some time before we see where any of the units are actually going, as the Zerglings now trying to walk up straight up the base. A beautiful fungal growth does hit, and all those Zerglings are now pretty much taken down. Only 2 Zerglings inside, and the Queen should be more than enough to handle that Zergling. Oh no! What happened to that Zergling? Apparently the Zergling did fall, but it got a Queen in the process. Roaches scuttling across the map, going to be hitting perhaps this forward foreground position. An easy bait by Terran, since he does already have map control with those Mutalists, and will have even more so with that planetary fortress there. New hatchery coming in from Giantt. Giantt trying to take that center 9 o'clock expansion, the exact mirrored opposite of TSL's Hyun at this point. As we're still waiting for both of these sides to actually engage. Give me one moment. Alright, slight distraction. Let's come back into this. As Hyun still just sitting up on 3 bases, and we'll see where he's going actually with these drones. Drones are actually making their way out over here. Mutalists are pushing back against all of these and Roaches, and the Infestors unable to land a fungal growth. That was an important hit as Giantt now tries to move away. Is Giantt going to be able to deal the necessary damage? That is the question there, as what is going on. All right, do we see a fungal growth? Yes, we do. And oh, the Mutalisk may be able to get off the damage. That is huge. There is a transfusion. The queens now come over. A second fungal growth, followed by 4 queens being brought over. And now this is potentially going to be a problem. The queens now making their way down, going after some of those Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are not regenerating that hit point altogether that quickly. This is not Wings of Liberty. They're able to back off. 4 queens now in position as Giantt takes a very, very quick base. We are now 4 bases to 4. Hyun is a little bit behind. We see Infestors, the transition away from Hydralisk. And now, the translation away from Mutalisk and now into Hydralisk, as Infested Terrans are now being launched forward. Alright, that is going to be huge here. Infested Terrans are fighting up against Roaches. The Roaches, however, not going to be able to do anything here, as we now see a whole bunch of infested eggs come out. Alright, Hyun does have an Overseer off over here, does have an Overlord here. Let's take a look at the unit count position. 75 compared to 66. Hyun is a bit behind in terms of the economic game. We are now running up on 4 bases. And interestingly enough, Giantt is actually running up with a significant mineral advantage. You can take a look at the number of drones here at all the bases. There are no drones here. Pretty much Hyun going strictly for gas. And now we see Giantt transitioning away into a larger number of Spine Crawlers. Spine Crawlers are a very, very important part of the Zerg army now, as Hyun and Giantt no longer need that large number of drones. 78 drones compared to 66. Giantt having Spine Crawlers and still has the economic advantage after all this. The main base is pretty much very, very sparse. Nothing really inside here. And I believe that is all calculated, as Hyun now making its way over. Alright, Overlord gonna get taken down. Overseer does spot this. A major attack now coming in across the center. Here you go. Both sides fighting. Spine Crawlers, eggs. Infestors quickly gonna get taken down, as those Infested Terrans with 1/1 upgrades are fighting back. Roach is now continuing this push. Hydralisk now trying to push off over here. A beautiful fungal growth catches many of the units, as we are going to be going for that exchange. Hyun is taking a little bit more damage here, but he does have the Spine Crawler wall. And this will be his line in the sand, or line in the creep, so to speak, to really push back against this. And Hyun is now actually taking more damage, as the counterattack already coming into play. You can see Giantt now transitioning, getting up a second Spire, going into Hive Tech already. And I believe, is that a second Spire? No, that is just the first Spire. We should be perhaps seeing Infestor Broodlord, as the Infestors are now making their way over. A Changeling of Hyun now making its way inside this base, and will be able to take a quick look around. Infestor, Roach, Hydra, Hyun sitting on about a 13 supply advantage, but then again, Giantt does have a stronger overall economy, and this is an interesting tale. Hyun with only 66 drones now, he's really only mining off of essentially 3 bases in terms of minerals. He does have 4 bases worth of gas right now, and with the number of roaches and the number of resources balancing out, Hyun is going to find himself perhaps sitting on a little bit more gas and not enough minerals to really replenish his army. Hyun is going to be forced to try to crash into this wave here, but if Giantt is able to just once again draw a line in the sand, that may be enough. You can see just the pure difference in terms of army size. About 400 minerals and about 1,500 resources, but we also do have a 2-1 upgrade advantage. Never mind, 2-1 to 2-1, as both sides now getting 2-2. Greater Spire now coming into position. We can see, I thought I saw Corruptors out on the field. Yes, we do. We have some Corruptors by Giantt, as now Infestors now dropping in a whole bunch of Infested Terrans once more. Both sides dropping in a whole bunch of eggs. Hyun and Giantt dropping in eggs here, as both sides are just continuing that engagement there. The Infested Terrans now trying to push their way in. Spine Crawlers, Roaches battling it up. There are a whole bunch of Spine Crawlers, some of them not even done morphing in yet, as Hyun is just continuing this push once more. Army compositions, about 900 resource different. More Infested Terran eggs now coming in. Infestors continuing to just drop out more and more Infested Terrans, but both sides are now low in the energy count. Queens now being brought over. Roaches, and it looks as though Giantt will once again be able to hold off this wave. And Hyun is actually going to be... No, actually Giantt has lost a little bit more, as we now see more Infested Terrans coming in from Hyun. Hyun just dropping in more and more infested Terrans still, but it looks as though Giantt, with the help of all of those spine crawlers, will be able to hold again. But the spine crawlers are not free as both sides are still fighting it up. Broodlords now being added, but are the Broodlords going to come in time? Hydralisk now backing off the Hydralisk. Oh, this could be potentially very bad. You can see more infested Terrans now coming in. There's a Spore Crawler taking a bit of damage. More infested Terrans are trying to drop off. It looks as though the Roaches and the Queens are engaging. The Queen may get taken down. Now backing off as the Hydralisk and the Roaches are moving in very quickly. Giantt now trying to root in some more spine crawlers. And here is this long macro battle coming into position. And Hyun is just crashing and crashing against these units. Hydralisk now looking to back off here. This base may fall. Do we see some Broodlords? Yes, we do. And the Broodlords are now going after those Hydralisks. One Broodlord does go down. A second Broodlord may get taken down as well. But the Broodlords are in a back position. No, a second Broodlord will get taken down. No, it's able to back off just in time. And now Hyun, what is this? Giantt now with the supply advantage. And now Giantt with the one with the stronger overall economy. You can see the Infestors now trying to back away. Are we going to see enough units? Large amounts of gas by Hyun. Broodlords perhaps needing to get transfused. Are we going to see that? There you go. As we are going into 1-0 upgrades. Roaches now looking to come in. No one taking these corner bases just quite yet. And this is still 4 bases to 4 base. 73 drones, 66 drones. Infestors now coming in. Corruptors now coming in as well. Army compositions. Let's take a look at the unit. 2 Broodlords, and it's really been these Broodlords who are able to just deal so much damage. Now, what is going to be happening here? Both sides pretty much very, very full on the tech tree. Hyun with 18 Infestors, now up to what is that? No, 18 Infestors now. And where are these units perhaps going to be traveling? Hyun, Infestor Broodlord compositions so strong at this stage. More Broodlords, more Corruptors coming in. Level 3 weapons attack. And this is the missile attack. That means that the Broodlings are not actually going to be able to deal that much damage. Giantt now making its way over. Does have a couple of Roaches to try to secure another base. Meanwhile, Hyun is going to clean up his own expansion. So both sides forced to take expansions at this point. Losses are about even. And this is perhaps one of the most even Zerg versus Zerg matches that I've seen in quite some time. Overlord Hangout Party apparently in the upper room. Here on Daybreak, 1-0 upgrades about to be completed. Broodlord still not quite enough energy. Sorry, still not quite enough enough Broodlords to really do much. As we're going to see now, in comes a second attack. Infestors, are we going to perhaps see some infested Terrans? There you go, a huge number of eggs being dropped in from both sides. And here you have it, red versus green. What is going to be happening here as both sides are still fighting it out? Corruptors going up against the Overseers. Hydralisks are going to be able to take down those Corruptors pretty easily, but all we see is a large amount of eggs on the screen. All right, so egg versus egg. Who is going to win out? You can see 2-2 upgrades on those infested Terrans, and this is the reason why infested Terrans are no longer going to get those weapons attack upgrade, as it's the only spell that actually scales with upgrades. So far, both sides continuing the fight. Corruptors now backing off. We can see a little bit more transfusions, and Giantt is in trouble. He is now down in 70 supply. Hydralisk still coming in. We are now just trapped inside a corner. More infested Terrans. The hatchery may fall, and Giantt is now down to 116 supply compared to 183. Hyun looks like he has dealt the necessary damage, and Giantt does not have much to show for it. 65 versus 46. Army compositions. Hyun much larger with more infestors coming in, and now you can see Zerglings have surrounded and taken out this top left-hand expansion. Meanwhile, down over here, there are burrowed Zerglings. They do have a couple of kills. You can see contamination on the hatcheries stopping the spawn larva from being able to come off here, and now in comes perhaps the flank attack. Infestors now making its way in, along with Hydralisk. Hydralisk moving so quickly across this map. Here you go. There is the engagement. There is a bunch of infested Terrans once more. Time life on them. Infestors now here as well. Both sides are going to be engaging. That is a whole bunch of infested Terran eggs, and that is going to be a problem. All of those Broodlords will get taken down, and Giantt loses game 2 in this series as well. Hyun taking a 2-0 lead. Please stay tuned for game 3. Still don't know who wins this particular series, as I don't know if the replays were uploaded out of order. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle here on Daybreak.